Today we're going to talk about an exciting case study with our customer Philip Raub from Model Number. He's CEO of Model Number, and he's going to talk about how he's using 3D Systems extrusion platform to make production furniture. If we go to the next slide. Oh, I guess from here.
Oh, there you go.
3D System is the largest 3D printing company in terms of the portfolio. We have a variety of different additive manufacturing technologies, including pellet extrusion, SLA, figure 4, SLS, metal printing, and really we focus on application development. So we work with our customers on applications and help them identify the right printer, material, software solution. And this is just an extrusion product line, best-in-class pellet extrusion platform, medium to large size. So we have a print platform that can print about 1,800 millimeter tall parts, industrial machines, modular tool head, so we can do hybrid in pellet and or printing and machining. And then, of course, we have a lot of different applications. But today, our focus is going to be on production furniture application. And I'm going to hand it off to Philip, who is as I said, CEO of Model Number, and they've been using 3D Systems extrusion platform to make sustainable furniture. Philip?
Thanks, Rahul. All right. Guess not everyone didn't want to hang around to learn about furniture, but let's go. So, as Rahul mentioned, I'm the CEO of a company called Model Number, and we digitally fabricate and 3D print furniture. So, I think what I wanted to do today was kind of share with you, I think, a little bit of a few case studies of kind of what we do and how we do it, and why 3D Systems is such a crucial part of how we run our business. So you may ask, like, why furniture? There's obviously a lot of different kind of applications that we can kind of look at or think about when it comes to 3D printing, and why furniture. Additionally, why this application? And I think it's really important, if you kind of understand the furniture industry, is that it's just fraught with waste and inefficiency. It's something today that's either done in one of two ways. Furniture is either made where it's handcrafted, but it's very hard to scale in that realm, or it's done in a way that is through injection molding, which has a lot of its own kind of problems, and one of those is there's a lot of waste in the industry. And so we thought there was a really great opportunity to disrupt that. But as we kind of started exploring 3D printing, for us, the first way that we really thought about things is that we were a small, scrappy company, and so we actually developed our own printers. So we were making our own printers in-house. And that caused a lot of problems, because as we were starting to develop and making printers, also at the same time, we were also trying to kind of make furniture. And so we had to kind of make a decision of what we wanted to do. Did we want to be a company that was going to be known for making 3D printers, or did we want to be a company that was going to really focus on the furniture industry? And so, that was when we kind of made the decision that it was time to kind of look for a partner. And we found that partner in 3D Systems. And I think what that really brings, and what 3D Systems and the Titan printers really bring, is that it allows for much greater consistency, allows for flexibility in our designs, and we just knew that it was a company that had the resources that I didn't have to focus the team on trying to build 3D printers, and we could actually focus on designing towards them. So that's today what we do at Model Number. Really allows us to focus on material science, and I'll talk about that a little bit on the different materials we use. But we use materials that are both biodegradable and compostable. Allows us to focus on design and ultimately product development. So this is just a couple of things, examples of some of our products, and I'll talk to you about also how we think about it and kind of the case studies in different ways. Because typically, when people think about furniture, and most of the large furniture manufacturers out there today, they do use additive manufacturing, but typically it's just for prototypes. And so what I want to talk to you is that we've now kind of moved and evolved to the point where our products are not only are they production ready, but I'll showcase some of the different case studies that we have where the product actually exists in market and how the business is growing today. So this is just some silhouettes. We do a lot of projects in the lighting space. We've started to move into non-structural elements, whether there be room dividers or even looking at the exterior and the facades of buildings. But what I want to share with you are three case studies that I have today. So this is the first example, is a case study. This building is the Domino Sugar Refinery. It's part of a $2 billion redevelopment in Brooklyn, just across from New York, underneath the Williamsburg Bridge. And so they were really impressed with the work that we were doing. Their architect brought us in and asked us to do the lobby. And so we started with the lobby, and so what you'll see here are a couple of different examples. This here is our Avens table, which is all 3D printed. And this is our bio bench, which is 3D printed, and then we've got it layered on a hardwood top to that. So we did the entire lobby for that project. Also, one of the great things in the material story behind it is that we have partnered with a company called R Carbon, which actually sequesters carbon from water waste. And that's what we use for our pigmentation and the dyes that we put into our products. So we did the lobby for this space, and then they came back to us and said, hey, you know what, we've got another space that we're outfitting. Can you work on that? So the space isn't completely done, so I do have some of the images of some of the products we put in there. So we just had set this actually last week, but also shows you the ability that we can also color match. So it really gives us a lot of flexibility. And again, by 3D Systems being able to kind of alleviate, I think, a lot of the heavy lifting and the reliability from their machines, that allows us, again, to focus on product development and look at different things. So what we do is we carry a large variety of different colors. So this is our sea glass here on some of the chairs, and then this is our fern green. But like I said, this was just as part of the installation. It's not finished yet. So that's one example of how we work with those are products that we have in our catalog. I have an internal design team puts together the catalog of products. And then this case study is going to be really around customization. So also by 3D printing, it allows us to, partners can come to us and say, you know what, we want to look at developing something, but we want to build on a design and work with you. Is that something you can do? And it absolutely is something that we do. And I think it's also the beauty of not being able to be able to react very quickly, to be able to quickly come up with designs and then go into the manufacturing of them. So this is a case study where we were asked by one of our clients to come up with conference room table shrouds. So they've got these executive conference rooms where they have this, they've invested a lot of money where the camera will move based off who's talking in the executive room. And so what they wanted was they wanted shrouds that can also move and do that. So if they went the route of injection molding, it would have been highly expensive for them, especially because it was only a limited production run that they wanted to do. They came to us, and we were able to execute the entire project in a matter of, I think probably like 12 weeks, where we were able to design, prototype, and ultimately manufacture, I think, about 20 or 25 of these for their executive rooms. It's something you just wouldn't do in traditional manufacturing. Also, they came to us and said, we want to put powered side tables in all of our corporate offices. I didn't mention who it was. I think if you know anything about architecture or even the landscape maybe of San Francisco, you could probably maybe guess who the client is, but I'll leave it at that. And so one of the things, like I said, they came to us, and so we do have a proprietary design with them where we co-designed the product, and then now we ship to all of their global offices worldwide. And then lastly, the case study I want to kind of give you is kind of share is how we think and we work with designers. So we have, like I said, I do have an internal design team that works and develops builds a lot of catalog products. We work with our commercial clients to do things on their behalf. But at the same time, we also have a wide variety of designers that will come to us and say, you know what, I've got a large project, or I have clients that I'd like to maybe design something with or for. Is this something that you can do? And the answer is absolutely yes. So there's a designer who we're working with by the name of Joshua Smith. He is based both in Los Angeles as well as on the East Coast, and he's got offices in Vermont and New York. And he has a wide variety of clients. And he said, like I'm an interior designer. I'm not a product designer. If I came to you with like mood boards, can we develop something together? And the answer was yes. So we designed this collection. It started for one of his clients in Palm Springs, and then we've moved on. So, like I said, the idea, and I think this really just shows you, is that there's such endless opportunities, and we can take on that risk, and you're not wasting anything. Traditionally, in manufacturing, you would have to go in, there'd be minimum order quantities, you'd be developing products, and it may or may not sell, and then you're having to discount them, which is a hit on your margins, but at the same time, it's also a hit to your to the environment, because it causes a lot of waste, and those products end up kind of getting thrown away. And so, for us, this is just, I think, a really unique way, and this is how we're kind of disrupting, the furniture industry today. Also, the other thing that we're doing is really, I talked to you earlier about kind of materiality. So you can kind of see these products here. All of our outdoor products are made from a material called celluloacetate, which is a biodegradable material. So ultimately, while we don't want to see that happen, and we would love to be able to kind of take back the products when they're end of life. If they were to end up in the bottom of the ocean, or they were to end up in a landfill, they will actually, over time, in a very short period of time, start to degrade to biodegrade, because they're made from wood pulp and cotton fiber. So anyway, that's the story of model number, and really, again, I'd like to bring Rahul up, for maybe some kind of Q&A, but I really like to thank 3D Systems, because ultimately we can't do what we do without having, I think, a great partner. And as I said in the beginning, really the idea behind what we do is we tried, and at first, just because we were a scrappy startup, we didn't have the ability to go out and buy large-scale printers. But the beauty behind what we were doing was that I knew ultimately we needed to take it in a direction to find a partner that allows us to be who we are and do what we do well, and let others do what they do well. So anyway, thank you. And so if you do want to see the furniture is available over in the 3D Systems booth, which is actually, if you were to walk straight ahead, you would run right into it. So I do think, I'm not sure if there's an opportunity, if anyone has any questions, but we can open it up.
take some questions. So how many pieces are you capable of making at the moment, then, in a month, say, or any set period of time?
Today we have a catalog of over 50 products, but we get a lot of custom work in. So, we have 3 printers today that we run, and we can run essentially for 24 hours a day because of the way that we're set up. So it just really depends on the size. So, for example, let me go back. I'm not sure if I can actually go back here, but this product here, this takes about 8 hours to print. Okay. Originally, it took about 24 hours, but we've now, because of the technology, have been able to kind of reduce that. So you can kind of, figure that and do the math of, depending on the size of the product, of how many we're able to produce in a particular month.
And what would you say are the biggest hurdles in either ramping up production or generating more interest in this?
It's a little bit of both. I think it is a very new category, and so I think within furniture, we have there's a lot of interest, but it requires time, right? Going out, doing trade shows, meeting with a lot of people, sending a lot of samples out. But now we're starting to see, the business is 6 years old, and we've probably been, first 2 years were pre-revenue, and so since we've kind of gone to market now, we start to see that. But that still is, I think, one of the largest hurdles that we have is continuing to kind of gain interest and momentum on what we're doing.
I only ask because one of my good friends is a furniture maker, or was a furniture maker, and it was basically worked in a workshop that could have been the same workshop from 1950 or 1850, very traditional sort of skill set and industry. But the design side has really pulled him. Yes. Into new technologies.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing people starting to embrace it more, and it really helps being in events like this where people can sit down. We do have this chair actually available. You can sit in it, test it, and I think that really makes a big difference. And once people see, because this idea of like, well, it's a 3D printed chair, is it going to be comfortable? And so there are a lot of hurdles, and that's what is really, the more that the product is out there, the more that we've actually seen a very positive response towards it.
Good stuff. And yes, you can walk down to the front of this hall and see some of these pieces and ask more questions. Gents, thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.